Have you ever had a strange moment where you're sitting alone and suddenly you realize, I don't feel like myself anymore? Not sad exactly. Not broken, just disconnected. Like you're watching your life happen instead of actually living it. You wake up. You scroll. You work. You talk. You laugh. But deep down, something feels missing. And the scariest part is, you can't even explain what it is, because nothing looks wrong from the outside. But inside, you feel like a stranger in your own body. That feeling has a name, and millions of people are experiencing it right now, without realizing it. This is the silent identity crisis of the digital age. And once you understand it, everything starts to make sense. At some point, most people stop becoming a person and start becoming a performance. Without even noticing, you begin shaping yourself, not around who you truly are, but around what gets accepted, what gets liked, what gets rewarded, what gets attention. Slowly, you stop asking, what do I feel? And you start asking, how do I look? And that's where the disconnect begins. Because identity isn't built through appearance. It's built through experience, through silence, through truth. But today, we don't live in truth. We live in feedback. Think about it. When was the last time you were alone? Without distraction? No phone. No music. No scrolling. Just you. And your own thoughts. For most people, that feels uncomfortable. Almost scary. Because the moment the noise disappears, you start hearing the voice inside you again. And that voice asks questions like, who am I really? What do I actually want? Why do I feel empty? And instead of answering, we escape. Back into noise. Back into content. Back into constant stimulation. Because silence forces self-awareness. And self-awareness forces change. The truth is, you don't lose yourself all at once. You lose yourself slowly. In tiny invisible ways. You lose yourself when you ignore your emotions. You lose yourself when you live for approval. You lose yourself when you become what others expect. And eventually, you wake up one day and realize you've been surviving, but not living. Psychologists call this identity diffusion. It happens when your sense of self becomes unclear, when you no longer feel grounded in who you are. You feel mentally scattered, emotionally numb, like your personality is fading, and the digital world makes it worse. Because online, you are never just a person. You are a profile, a brand, a highlight reel, a version. And when you spend years being a version of yourself, you forget the original. Social media doesn't just show you other people's lives. It teaches you to compare your identity. You start questioning, am I doing enough? Am I interesting enough? Am I successful enough? And slowly, your self-worth becomes external. not internal. You no longer feel real unless someone else validates you. That's why people feel empty even when they're popular. Because attention is not connection. Likes are not love. And visibility is not identity. Another reason you don't feel like yourself anymore is because modern life keeps you in survival mode. Always rushing. Always multitasking. Always overstimulated. Your brain never rests. Your nervous system never calms. And when you live in constant stress, you disconnect from yourself. Because the mind is focused on surviving. Not feeling, not reflecting, not being. You become functional, but not alive. And then something even deeper happens. You start forgetting your real desires. As a child, you knew what you loved. You knew what excited you. You knew what made you feel free. But adulthood teaches you to be realistic, to be productive, to be acceptable. And over time, your soul becomes quiet, not because it disappeared, but because you stopped listening. So how do you find yourself again? Not through motivation, not through productivity, but through reconnection. The first step is silence. Real silence. Not scrolling silence. Not background noise silence. True stillness. Because your identity lives underneath the noise. The second step is asking yourself, what parts of me have I abandoned? What emotions have I avoided? What version of myself am I pretending to be? And the third step is rebuilding slowly through real experiences, not online performances, real friendships, real creativity, real solitude, real meaning. Because the truth is, you are still there. You were never gone. You were just buried under expectations, distractions, and constant comparison. And the moment you stop running, the moment you sit with yourself, you begin to return, not to who you were, but to who you were always meant to become. So if you've been feeling lost, if life feels unreal, if you don't feel like yourself anymore, let this be your reminder. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are waking up. And finding yourself is the most powerful journey you will ever take.